Brasileiros in the crowd. So, I hope you all had a really yummy lunch, and now you're ready for us to share you something that brings us great joy. This is, we call ourselves Mulhercatu. We would like to invite you all, if you feel so moved, to get up and move with us. How many of you understand or have heard of the concept of Ashe? Yeah, Ashe. So Ashe is a circuit of energy that comes up, it rises up when we create community together. In Brazil, a lot of times we actually literally make a circle, and everybody supports each other, and there's a connection between the quote-unquote audience and the people who are performing. There's actually, in many other cultures of the world, much less separation than we tend to have here in the United States. And Ashe, we are throwing out our Ashe, and I expect you all to bring it back up to us. So you're welcome to come up and dance a little bit later, after I'm done blah, blah, blah. Then we'll have a chance. Georgia is going to lead the dancers and show you all some Maracatu moves. Just to let you know, the first song we sang as you were coming in was a song to Yemanja. She's a mother goddess who dwells in the ocean. Her devotees are mermaids, sereas. Fishermen and sailors ask for her protection and favor. Like if you've seen video or participated in the New Year's blessings, or everybody in white goes down to the beach and puts their offerings in the ocean. That's Yemanja. And she is one of the orishas, a deity who traveled to the west with the people who were enslaved from Africa. So she altered a little bit her aspect when she came to the quote-unquote New World. But anyways, she's really important to us and to the people in the community that we are representing. So, this. Maybe? Yeah, there it goes. So, just a little breakdown for those who aren't super familiar with Portuguese, and we all like to squish words together, but mulher means woman, and Maracatu is the music that we're playing. The history of Maracatu is really unique and very powerful. It's about cultural resilience and identity, and it's faced with terrible, terrible experience. It was born in Pernambuco, a state in the northeast of Brazil, during the time that African people were enslaved there. Let's see, I have another slide. Look at this. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to put that. Notes. So the governors of Pernambuco, the state, to prevent the enslaved people from rioting or escaping, they had this idea. They considered this event once a year like a distraction or pressure release. African people were allowed to choose a king and queen, and the royal court, the whole royal court, will dance fiercely down the streets with big pageantry. And you may notice that our Maracatu dancers have very strong, fierce movements in their dance. There's a lot of meaning to that. They're there in front of the court with their protection and their clearing of the energy of the streets as their king and queen. And also some of the other representatives of the spirituality, the religion, are coming down the street in front of behind them. So this music, this dance, this tradition really helps people maintain that cultural identity that may not even be exactly true to where their ancestors were from, but I don't know if you can imagine how important that is to people who were stolen and to not be broken by that, by having some sense of who they must be. When slavery was actually officially abolished in Brazil in 1888, the government was like, okay, no more of this hate phone stuff, that's over. And, what do you think happened? It didn't end. There we go. So many of the Maracatu nations, that's what they're called now, in the Northeast still represent the communities of people of African descent. And those communities are closely tied to the practice of of candomblé, which you may have heard of. Maracatu Pacífico, which is our parent group. We often play with a wonderful group of, it's a co-ed group. It's led by a dear man named Eric Kaufman, who devotes so much of his life to this group, and we're really grateful to him. Maracatu is very blessed. We've had a wonderful teacher, Pitoko, who comes from one of the oldest Maracatu nations in Brazil. He's been actually very deeply impressed by Maracatu Pacífico. He actually at one point even gave us a song that he wrote for us to be able to say that we represent Estrela Brilhante. Really touched us deeply, and we can say that we represent this Maracatu community that was founded in 1906 and is still going super strong. So we have this great blessing, and Pitoko just a couple weeks ago was here in town to lead us through the San Francisco Carnival. He has, Pitoko recently, in recent years, has finished his formal training on the Teheru after a lifetime of living in the spiritual traditions that Maracatu represents. And he's actually helping our group step even deeper into the religious aspects of Maracatu. Open to us and however far we want to take it, but it feels really, I think, special to all of us that we are able to represent this. For most of us, this is a foreign, we're outside the tradition and we're not, well, you can see that. So it's really important to us to really honor the spirit, the traditions, the people for whom this music is their life. So he actually, Pitoko, hired a reading with his spiritual father to read the orishas that are protecting our band, and he brought us a sanctified figure that we can carry with us when we pray, very special awareness and attention, and there's an altar that is always maintained. So one of the things that Pitoko always does before we play when he's here is he leads a blessing, calls in the orishas on our instruments, on us. As we move through like the streets of San Francisco, we have always the protection and guidance and blessing of the orishas. Let's see. In fact, actually, we're going to sing some songs today. We already have from Estrela Brilhante's repertoire. The second song that we sang, Cheguei Minha Povo, which is very joyful and rowdy. It's like, I've arrived, my people. That's the name of the song. Anyways, and we're going to do a few more in a moment. Okay, let's see. I have this really great. This is actually, when it goes, an image of, that's slide 5, but it's not showing it. Anyways, we all performed, actually, for the first time, the women of our group of Maracatu Pacífico performed in a festival called Cuba that takes place in San Francisco a year ago. And it's a really great slide. I'd love to show it to you. There it is. So, can you see it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of joy on that stage, right? So, after that experience, I mean, we had such a wonderful time rehearsing together. The nature of the program for Cuba was about the hands of women. And so we decided to take this new experience and just have the women of our group and our king, because we can't dance without the king, on the stage. And it was a beautiful experience, and we just love doing this together. And it feels really wonderful. We're not trying to be exclusive. We play with all the genders in our group all the time. But like, this is something really special that we're sharing with you. And just to give you a moment to like explain, like the piece that we did at Cuba Caribe, it showcased a woman who was enslaved being uplifted and like, elevated and with strength and pride by the Orisha Oya. And so that's what's happening, like the Haiti Congo tradition, Kings of the Congo tradition, where a woman or people who are usually bearing the brunt and having really hard lives being elevated to this position of honor. So that's what we were showing. And people in the band like see us all the time, tears in their eyes. Anyway, so moving again, for sleep. Georgia and our dancers are going to show you some basic Maracatu movements. Just so you know, when Maracatu is performed in the streets, there's very little that's actually choreographed. It's mostly follow the leader. So you're dancing down the street, spinning wildly across broken asphalt with your eyes very much on the person in front, so you change, on a dime. And it's exhilarating and it's beautiful, and so therefore, like, don't worry about missing. Let's see. Let's see. Here are the next songs we're going to play. I wanted to give you an opportunity to see these beautiful words, which don't translate super well on Babylon, but you just like that. Estrela Brillante, star. This is a little blessing. And then our next one is Cachirina Baiani Lancero. So both these two songs are by Estrela Brillante.
Estrela, clareia a terra, estrela, clareia o mar.
Estrela, clareia a terra, estrela, clareia o mar.
Clareia o gonga de beira-mar. Clareia os filhos do Gongá.
Clareia o gonga de beira-mar. Clareia, clareia os filhos do Gongá.
Estrela, clareia a terra. Estrela, clareia o mar. Clareia o gonga de beira-mar. Clareia os filhos do Gongá. Estrela, clareia a terra. Estrela, clareia o mar. Estrela, clareia a terra. Estrela, clareia o mar. Clareia o gonga de beira-mar. Clareia os filhos do Gongá. Clareia o gonga de beira-mar. Catirina, baiana e lanceiro, escute o baque de nossa nação. Nós, tambores sagrados, vem saudando toda a nação. Catirina,
baiana e lanceiro, escute o baque de nossa nação. Nós, tambores sagrados, vem saudando toda a nação.
oleleá, oleleô, é no baque virado, estrela brilhante, é nação na cor. Catirina, baiana e lanceiro, escute o baque de nossa nação. Nós, tambores sagrados, vem saudando toda a nação. Catirina, baiana e lanceiro, escute o baque de nossa nação. Nós, tambores sagrados, vem saudando. Oleleá, oleleô, é no baque virado, estrela brilhante, a nação na cor. Catirina, baiana e lanceiro, escute o baque de nossa nação. Nós, tambores sagrados, vem saudando toda a nação. Catirina, baiana e lanceiro, escute o baque de nossa nação. Nós, tambores sagrados, vem saudando toda a nação. Oleleá, oleleô, é no baque virado, estrela brilhante, é nação na cor. Catirina, baiana e lanceiro, escute o baque de nossa nação. Nós, tambores sagrados, vem saudando toda a nação. Catirina, baiana e lanceiro, escute o baque de nossa nação. Nós, tambores sagrados, vem saudando toda a nação. Leleá, leleô, é no baque virado, estrela brilhante, é nação na cor.
So now probably you've gotten some taste of what is so addictive for us. But truly, like, finding the Maracatu family, for most of us, have said that this is one of the best things that's ever happened to their lives. There is something very powerful. There's a medicine and a bond, a really beautiful bond that grows when you regularly practice playing together with your people. Dancing, singing, playing together as a community is incredible. And when you don't get your fix, you start to really miss it. Like it's a thing. I don't want to call it a bad addiction. Maybe all addictions aren't bad. But so just repeatedly in training together and refining our bond is I think, something very, very, very beautiful. Come on. I think my laptop is tired. Yeah, oh, that worked. Okay, so as a female drummer, that me being female. I'm incredibly grateful for the warriors who are my female teachers who have braved endless discrimination, I mean endless, and social and economic consequences so that my path to the drum was much easier than theirs. Even today, some of the most accomplished, badass drummers I've ever seen who happen to be female are pushed out of the limelight by their male teachers. But the greatest thing that I did with my life last year, among a lot of really cool things, was going to this camp. It's called Born to Drum. It's an all-women drum camp that happens in Oakland every summer, and I have flyers in the back if you want to see. And we do mean women in the most inclusive possible sense of the word women. So if you identify with that word, you're super welcome. And children are there. It's a really beautiful experience, and I can talk to you more about it if you want to later. But women are given the message from childhood not to be loud, not to make a scene. And actually, no parents hammered that home like my parents did. It was all about being quiet and being in service and not making any kind of ripples. And so, for me, drumming is a deeply personal challenge, and it's super rewarding for me, it has been. At this camp, the support and the cross-cultural communion and bonding, because people from all over the world are there, from all different drumming and music traditions, is just an incredible experience that I'm so grateful for. And last year, they taped a documentary where they were interviewing our teachers and their path to the drum, and it just would make you cry, but with pride and joy also, like what they have gone through in their lives from all over the world to be able to drum as women. And believe me, women are drummers. Like, Mama Earth says drum. Dance on her and sing, and it's just, I don't know how to describe it. I know that there's science out there about these vibrations that we share and when we sync up with each other, and we all know it, and you probably know it too, but I ask all of you to find ways in your lives that you can honor that. And another really wonderful thing that we are super blessed to have as a community, I mean, we all talk about community. We all, I think, know that living in community, in direct relationship with each other, dealing with the consequences of different personalities and needs is not something that we really experience or are trained or taught in schools. Our culture is all about leave it to the government to handle it and mind your own business, right? So I think everyone in this room realizes how important it is for us to really practice and learn those skills of how to live in community so we can be resilient, so that we can survive and can we have a more healthy, like, surviving planet. So our community is really blessed because we have this drive to be together. We have this precious gift that is our addiction or whatever, our love of drumming and our bond with each other, so that we are inspired to learn how to talk to each other and be brave and be honest. And we have, in our band, we have people on different ends of political spectrums. The turmoil in Brazil has come up, like people who feel really differently. Our emotions are really present. And as a group together in the last years, we have been creating town halls where we're working on becoming council and like learning together what works for us. And it's a struggle, but it's starting to really become part of our group, and it's changing, and it's becoming an easier journey for our director and all of us to be able to do more and be in support of each other. So again, I invite you, if you wanted to talk about it in detail about it, you can talk to probably any of us, or I'm super open to talk in detail about how we're working through that. But again, we're super blessed to have a reason to try. You know, we have this wonderful experience together. So, okay, for our final numbers, here we go again. Yeah, no? Yeah? Maybe? It says 10, but it's not showing 10. Okay, so for our final numbers, we're gonna play, one song is to Nana,
Nana is an Orisha who is the deeply respected grandmother figure. She is associated with the mud in the swamp and, no? Really? I really want this one to happen. Anyways, I have photos of the figures of Nana. So Nana is her appeal, like when people are going through transition, they call on Nana for help, especially death. So she is, like I said, this old grandmother. She moves slowly, but she wants to dance too. And this song that we're going to sing is all about, well, one of the verses is, when Nana wants to come dance, the people call for silence so that they don't disturb her. It's very beautiful. And the next song, after that, we will finish with like our favorite piece. It's to Oshun. Oshun is the beautiful mother goddess. She exists in the rivers and the streams, the fresh water. And she's a wonderful blessing, and I think that you will just sense her aspects from the song itself. The song is actually all in Yoruba. It's not in Portuguese, so. Anyways, thank you all for giving us your attention and your energy and your ashe. It's very much appreciated and felt. Thank you.
Nanã, quando chega pra dançar, o povo pede silêncio para não incomodar. Nanã, quando chega pra dançar, o povo pede silêncio para não incomodar. Nana que deita na lama do manguezal, onde nasceu meu Recife, essa bela capital. Vovó que dança com o ibiri na mão, salo bananã, ouça minha saudação. Nanã, quando chega pra dançar, o povo pede silêncio para não incomodar. Nanã, quando chega pra dançar, o povo pede silêncio para não incomodar. Nana que deita na lama do manguezal, onde nasceu meu Recife, essa bela capital. Vovó que dança com o ibiri na mão, salo bananã, ouça minha saudação. Nanã, quando chega pra dançar, o povo pede silêncio para não incomodar. Nanã, quando chega pra dançar, o povo pede silêncio para não incomodar. Moromimayo, moromimayo, abadoa eu. Ala Joshun, Oshun mirereo. Ala Joshun, Oshun mirereo. Ela é mina nicarodô, ela é mina nicarodô. Ela é mina mina Nicarodô, ela é mina Nicarodô. Moromi maio, abadoa eu. Ala Joshi, Oshu mirereo. Ala Joshi, Oshu mirereo. Ela é mina Nicarodô, ela é mina Nicarodô. Ela é mina Nicarodô, ela é mina Nicarodô. Moromi maio, abadoa eu. Ala Joshi, Oshu mirereo. Ala Joshi, Oshu mirereo. Ela é mina Nicarodô, ela é mina Nicarodô. Ela é mina Nicarodô, ela é mina Nicarodô. Moromi maio, abadoa eu. Ala Joshi, Oshu mirereo. Ala Joshi, Oshu mirereo. Ela é mina Nicarodô, ela é mina Nicarodô. Ela é mina Nicarodô, ela